What would you do if someone called your special needs brother an abomination from God for simply holding your baby? In today's story, a mother's protective instinct leads to a single, sharp slap that echoes through her entire community. My wife Chloe and I are going to tell this story from both of our points of view, to make everything as clear as possible. 6 months ago, my wife, Chloe, who is 29, and I, a 31-year-old man named Leo, welcomed our beautiful baby boy, Sam, into the world. Chloe's brother, Daniel, is a 24-year-old with special needs. He's had a host of medical challenges since birth, which makes him different, but he is genuinely the kindest and most fun person you could ever meet, especially when he gets talking about sports. When Sam was born, Daniel was curious but very hesitant to hold him, so you can imagine how thrilled we were when, about a month ago, he finally felt ready and asked to hold his nephew. We have a few simple rules in place for when Daniel holds the baby, which he actually appreciates. He just needs to be sitting down, and one of us, me, Chloe, or his parents, needs to be right there. This is mostly a precaution. If Sam gets fussy, we can easily take him back so Daniel doesn't get overwhelmed. A week ago, we went to a high school graduation party for Chloe's cousin Mark's daughter, Sophie, and her best friend, Grace. We know both girls and were happy to go celebrate with them. Daniel's parents couldn't make it, but he wanted to come with us, so we brought him along. The party was in full swing. Chloe was sitting on an outdoor patio couch talking with her cousin Mark, while I was holding Sam and chatting with a coworker who, by coincidence, was a friend of Grace's family. After a little while, Daniel came over and asked if he could hold Sam. We walked over to where Chloe was sitting. Daniel sat down, and I gently passed him the baby. I asked Chloe if she wanted a water, since I was heading to our cooler to grab a beer. I was getting our drinks and talking with my coworker when a woman's screeching voice cut through the party's buzz. "He shouldn't be touching that baby," she shrieked. We live in an area heavily influenced by certain religious beliefs, and her next words were laced with that judgment. She was ranting about how someone, like Daniel, shouldn't be allowed to hold babies. She screamed that he was going to drop Sam, that he would hurt him, and demanded to know how we could all just stand by and ignore it. At that moment, the woman, whom we later learned was Grace's aunt, Brenda, completely unaware that her venomous cocktail of ignorance and righteousness was about to ignite a powder keg of maternal fury. She thought she was protecting a baby, but she was actually lighting a fuse. Chloe immediately stood up, positioning herself between Brenda and Daniel. She asked the woman to please stop yelling. She tried to reassure Daniel, telling him he was doing a great job, but Brenda just kept screaming that he was going to hurt the baby. The commotion was too much. Daniel got flustered, and his anxiety instantly transferred to Sam, who began to cry. Chloe took Sam from Daniel, who at this point was covering his ears, completely overwhelmed. I started moving toward them as Chloe, her voice strained, pleaded with the woman to stop and leave them alone. Brenda ignored her. She got closer, pointing a trembling, accusatory finger over Chloe's shoulder at Daniel, and then she said it. The words that hung in the air like poison. How could a mother let an abomination from God hold on to an innocent baby? He's going to hurt the baby now and in the future. An abomination. She called this kind, gentle soul an abomination. Before I could reach them, something shifted in my wife. The time for words was over. She turned, and with a sharp, swift motion, slapped Brenda across the face. The sound was like a firecracker in the sudden silence. For a moment, everyone, especially Brenda, was just frozen. I finally reached them and took Sam from Chloe's arms. A man came over and grabbed Brenda, who was just starting to process what had happened and was freaking out that she'd been hit. Chloe looked Brenda dead in the eye and said, "If you keep yelling, I'll give you a black eye to go with that handprint on your face." Our cousin Mark quickly stepped in and helped get Brenda away from us. The party was over for our family. Chloe had to physically help Daniel up from the couch and guide him to our car. I gathered Sam's things and followed. When I got to the car, Daniel was sobbing, apologizing over and over for hurting Sam. Through her own tears, Chloe held him and kept telling him he did nothing wrong, that none of this was his fault. I drove straight to my in-laws' house to tell them what happened. Daniel was able to see a therapist the very next day and has been going every day since. The therapist says recovering from an event like this can take time. A few days later, Chloe went to talk to Sophie and Grace, who happened to be there too. Chloe felt terrible that their graduation party was ruined, but Grace was the one apologizing for her aunt's horrific behavior. Chloe gave the girls massage certificates as an apology and a graduation gift. The fallout continued. Brenda found Chloe on social media and, along with her friends and family, began sending messages. The story she's telling, of course, is that she was simply trying to protect a baby when my wife assaulted her for no reason. She's threatened to sue, but so far, nothing has come of it. I have a friend who's a lawyer, and he's already connected us with someone who is ready to represent Chloe if it comes to that. But the most painful consequence has been the change in Daniel. He's happy to see Sam, but he won't ask to hold him anymore. If you ask him to hold his nephew, he just says no very quickly and leaves the room. We're now trying a new approach, just spending time together on a blanket on the floor with Sam, hoping it will help him feel more comfortable again. To make matters worse, Chloe vented to a friend from her Mommy and Me class, who then told everyone else. Now, all of those moms are saying my wife went too far by striking the woman. This has made Chloe second-guess herself, wondering if her protective instincts were too much. But I know she was just terrified for our child and her brother. She didn't want to give Brenda the chance to get any closer or potentially physical. This reveals the difficult paradox of justified action. Chloe acted from a place of pure protection, yet society's rules made her question the very instinct that defined her as a mother and a sister. Her friend saw a line crossed, failing to see the vicious attack that had forced her hand. They didn't understand that Brenda, by approaching and screaming at a special needs man holding an infant, was the one who was truly putting the baby in danger. Chloe, the mother sitting right next to him, knew everything was fine until Brenda started her assault. We're just taking it day by day, holding on to the hope that soon, Daniel will feel comfortable enough to hold his nephew again. Ultimately, this story shows that a protector's duty doesn't end with a single act of defense. It continues in the quiet, patient work of healing the wounds inflicted by hate. Chloe's friends said she went too far, but many feel she didn't go far enough. When faced with such vile prejudice against your family, where is the line between righteous protection and going too far? Let us know what you think.